There we go. All right, we are live. Hello, everyone. My name is Quinn. This is my UFC betting podcast. Sorry, we took a couple of months off. Had to deal with some shit in my life, and I went out and partied a little bit, but met up with Shawn in LA. But we are back here, and we are ready to break down this card. It's a absolutely fantastic card we got going this weekend. I got Shawn Orr here today. You can find him on Twitter at Shawn Orr. How you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. How are you today?
I'm doing good, brother. Just worked. I'm stoked to get here and break down these fights with you. Yeah, we got a lot of fights to talk about, so let's just jump right in here. So we've got Luis Smolka taking on Vince Morales. I'll start here. I think the line is getting a little bit wide. I thought it like minus 130, minus 125. I was like, that's probably about accurate. Smolka should be a slight favorite. But now that Morales is plus 133 and it just keeps climbing, like I think the side is Morales here. I know Smolka is he's got a better ground game and his boxing has definitely improved over the years, but and he's not drinking much anymore, which has obviously helped him quite a bit coming back. But Morales isn't he's not a bad fighter. Everyone gives him a lot of shit. He's had some pretty difficult matchups. He's not a bad boxer, man. He takes a little while to get going. I think Smolka's pretty live to win the first round. When Morales when he fought Benito Lopez, and his last fight when he fought Rodriguez, it took him forever to get going. He didn't really start throwing combinations until like the second part of the second round, and then round 3 he really started picking it up. And I don't really think Smolka's cardio is like anything to write home about. So I do think Morales is gonna once he starts figuring out the range, he's gonna press forward. He's gonna land his boxing combinations, and he's gonna make it a fight. I mean, their metrics are pretty similar. I guess he could, Smolka could sub Morales on a grappling transition. I don't really think Morales' ground game is that good for having a wrestling background. I do think Smolka 100% has the upside there. But it's a pass right now. I don't really have any interest in playing the line, but if I had to pick, I'd probably pick Morales to get the win with the line movement. What do you think?
Yeah, so I made a small play on Morales. I think it was like plus 120, like a very small play, smallest I could. I think the line should be even. There's just two different versions of Smolka. There's the Smolka of old, and then there's the Smolka of present. And sure, he quit drinking, but he's still a guy who doesn't really have very good boxing defense. He doesn't have very good wrestling offense. So I'm actually not at all concerned that Smolka is going to land takedowns here. I've heard that take a few times, but I actually think if anybody's landing the takedowns in this fight, I think it's going to be Morales landing takedowns to break up Smolka's pressure, because really what Smolka brings is spams hooks to the body. He has a really nice left hook up top, but overall, not a lot of head movement. Morales should be able to find his range in this fight. People give Morales a lot of shit, but he's had a lot of difficult circumstances surrounding his fights. Not only just the matchups, but this is a fight where he's getting a full camp. I saw him doing some work with the city kickboxing people. So I think Vince is going to be more than prepared to take on Smolka here. It's just a matter of how big you want to size it, because it's not like Morales is a world beater. So I'm going to keep my size smaller, because I do think there are better spots on the card.
I agree 100% with you. Okay, we move on. I know you have a pretty strong take here on this next matchup. We got I believe it's at heavyweight now. We've got Jared Vandera taking, I'm going to butcher this guy's name, taking on Asmat Mirzakhanov. What do you got, Shawn?
So yeah, the Russian guy is going to be moving up in weight, and
he's tiny.
He's tiny. He's going to be small.
This is like 40-pound weight difference.
It's going to be 40 pounds, 9 inches of reach.
9 inches.
So, I mean, weight classes exist for a reason. I played Jared at plus 190. and I put a decent amount of money on it. Nothing absurd because Jared is short notice. So it's not like he had a whole lot of time to train for this. But I just am not super impressed by the tape with the Russian guy. He's pretty low volume. He throws a really fast left hand, so I'll give him credit there. And Jared could definitely get caught by that. But it's not like this guy's putting people out consistently with his shots. A lot of his competition is lower level. If you watch the Gudo Innocente fight, he does land clean on him. He doesn't put him out. I mean, I've done a bit of tape on Gudo Innocente, so not really steamrolling him is a pretty big red flag for me. I just think Jared's going to be able to remain upright. Jared's really tough. We've seen this. He's only struggled with the ground games against some biggish heavyweights who have good takedown ability. Jared has a wrestling background, so I don't think this guy's going to be able to break up the pressure with his wrestling like he does in most of his fights. The 9 inches of reach advantage, I saw some people today on Twitter kind of poo-pooing the metrics on this. 9 inches of reach is a lot, and also for a guy who fights like Jared, because Jared's already really good at distance management. That's kind of how he fights. He fights really long. So if he has 9 inches on a guy who's relatively low volume, I do expect Jared to kind of take over as the fight goes on. I think it's a really good spot. I think it's probably the best spot on the card, personally.
Yeah, so it took me a while to get into taping this one. I actually taped it this morning, and I agree. I played Bandera. I believe I got plus 165. I wish I would have taped this earlier. I really do. Yeah, like you said, the size advantage is insane here. Like, it's huge. 9 inches of reach, that's huge. And Bandera, he tips the scales at 265. It's not like he's weighing 150. It's not like 250. It's not like he's weighing 245. He's weighing 265. This dude is
at the limit.
He's at the limit. This dude is big. And Azmat is small, man. He's like 5 or 6 inches shorter than Bandera here. Like, it's going to be insane. I know Bandera is kind of a slow starter. And so the first round might be a little bit sketchy, but like you said, Azmat just doesn't have any volume. Not much wrestling upside. I don't really see him laying takedowns, having any sort of grappling upside. Jared is like you said, he's a pretty good grappler, and he's big, and he's got good hands. He's got good defense. He'll check kicks. He'll pressure you forward. He's got good cardio. I think this line is, I don't think it's appropriate at all. I was, like I said, I wish I would have taped it earlier. You know me, I'm so bad on taping, but I don't think that a 37% implied is,
it's insane.
At all accurate. Like, that's like, you can't price him at that at all.
No.
With the physicality advantages that he has, and honestly, I think that you could give him the advantage striking. I mean, Azmat's not even that good of a striker. Like, he's super low volume. And I think Bandera has a better, he's better defensive. Like, the dude is pretty good defensively. Like, he's not bad. So yeah, we both agree there. I think Bandera is a solid bet this weekend. All right, we move on. We've got a fun. I would guess I wouldn't say it fun. I'll enjoy it. It's we got a lightweight matchup here between Claudio Puelles and Chris Gritzmacher. I'll go first. I put a unit on Grits at a minus 110. I might add a little bit more if he gets to dog money. I know he's been sitting at he's back up to minus 114 now, but I think he is the rightful favorite here. I think Puelles is a pretty terrible fighter. And Grits is going to make him work, man. Grits is going to piece him up at range. He's going to beat him up in the clinch. He's going to out cardio him. Puelles' level of competition has been absolutely atrocious. Beating Jordan Leavitt, okay, like, that's cool. You grind on him for 3 rounds. We all know Jordan Leavitt. We've all been waiting to fade him. Marcus Mariano, probably the worst fighter the UFC has ever fought. The only reason why that guy was in the UFC to begin with was because he was friends with Anderson Silva, I believe. That's the only reason why he's got 2 fights. This guy he's not an MMA fighter. He's a kickboxer. Like, he has 0 ground game. And if you remember that fight versus who the fuck subbed him, Lando Venata. Like, it was such an easy Kimura. Like Mariano had no idea how to defend it. He had no idea. And watching Puelles grapple him, like Puelles didn't really he struggled passing the guard until like the later part of the fight. Like he let Mariano regain guard multiple times. Um, wasn't really landing much ground and pound, wasn't really trying to posture up. I wasn't impressed at all, and then when he did get the Kimura, I believe it was the second, I want to say it was end of the second round. He just didn't get the right angle on it at all. He should have finished that like easily, and him not being able to sub Mariano, like what the fuck, man? Like that's such a big red flag. That guy is a fucking trash can. So yeah, I think Grits is the rightful favorite. He's faced the way better competition. He's been here for a while. I'm not like I'm not saying Grits is any role beater, but I definitely think that he deserves to be the favorite here. I think he's going to defend the takedowns, make Puelles work, and pick up a decision. What do you think?
I haven't bet it yet, but I am going to be on the Grit side. It seems like more money is coming in on Puelles, and it also seems like there are some people with big audiences on Twitter that are touting Puelles.
Oh yeah,
so
max betting.
I don't really see the angle. I mean, Puelles, he came off of a very long layoff, went to a good camp in Sanford MMA, and I bet him really heavily against Jordan Leavitt because Jordan isn't, a very complete MMA fighter, and it's not like Puelles was showing any new wrinkles to his game. In fact, he actually looked timid in the stand-up. If anything, you could say that Leavitt won the stand-up exchanges, especially early on.
He did.
And Leavitt doesn't really have good stand-up at all. In fact, it's probably about as bad as it can get at a UFC level. Whereas if you look at the Grit side, I just feel like people who bet the Rafa Garcia angle on that fight are maybe they need to go back and actually watch that fight, because they're creating these takes that, okay, Grit's basically just blocked a bunch of punches with his face and let Garcia get tired. But it definitely was definitely a lot more complicated than that. I mean, if anything, Grits exceeded my expectations in that fight. He was checking leg kicks. Nope. He was doing good attritional body work throughout the fight. He was landing up top. Pretty much every level of the striking game, he was winning, aside from like the first 2 minutes or so. Now, Garcia was able to get Grits down a few times, even late in the fight. But I actually do think Garcia is a hell of a lot better wrestler than Puelles. Puelles is basically like an intermediate level, like sport BJJ guy. He kind of screws around a little too much in his BJJ game. Like you were saying, he's not really that technically proficient. So I do think that as the fight wears on, Grits is just going to be landing all the attritional work, and he's going to either stop him or win a decision. But just let the line keep simmering, because most people bet these types of spots based on age. Grits is a much older fighter, so just keep letting those gamblers come in on Puelles, and then grab a good Grits line day of fight.
Agree. All right, we move on. We have a shit show fight. We have Alonzo Menifield taking on William Knight. I will throw it to you first.
I bet Menifield at -135. I think he's just an all-around more skilled fighter. That's not saying much, because William Knight is basically, he's basically body lock or big haymaker or bust. I mean, the guy is a fun character. He does some fun commentary on regionals. I think he basically his full-time job is teaching MILFs how to box or something like that, if you look at his Instagram. So it's not really clear what level of training this guy is doing, but from what we've seen, if he can't get his game going, he's pretty lost. He is good at taking abuse. So if Menifield does revert back to the Menifield of old, and he just tries to knock this guy out in the first round, I think that the ticket's going to be pretty sweaty. But just overall, I think Menifield has him covered absolutely everywhere. And I think Menifield showed a lot of good patience in the Herman fight, which should be a good sign for this.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, I think Menifield is the rightful favorite. Do I want to bet him? Not at all. I don't like Menifield. Yeah, I think there's I don't know. I'll think about it. I don't know. I think Willie Knight's a trash can, like you said. He's very very meme or bust. He thinks he's a good grappler when he's not. He's absolutely terrible off his back. No get ups. I do think if Menifeld comes in with a clinch and grapple heavy approach, I think he can get him down. I think he can work him on top. And, he's made improvements to the striking. He's like, I don't think he's completely like haymaker or bust. He threw some leg kicks, had some nice calf kicks um, in the tape that I was watching. But yeah, I don't know. Both guys have cardio issues. Knight probably shouldn't even be here.
Nah.
Who was that guy that he beat on Contender Series? God, what the fuck was that guy's name? I don't remember. But he was, that fight was.
It was that prospect. Well, there was two fights on Contenders. He beat that prospect from Krause's
Didn't
gym.
he land the elbow on Brundage? Yeah, Brundage.
Yeah.
We all know Brundage. Guy's a huge disappointment. That fight was super competitive until he got the finish. So I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to make any play on this fight, but I definitely know that I'm not playing Knight at all. I don't have much else to say about it, honestly. I
We can
think
move
there's
on.
just some better opportunities on the card. We move on. We've got, I guess it's Cheyenne Vismus now.
Velismus.
Velismus taking on Mallory Martin. I don't know what happened with her in buys, but she definitely deserves better than JP. That's for sure. Yeah, I like Cheyenne here. I think she has a pretty solid advantage in the stand up. I think I don't like the way Mallory Martin reacts to punches. She's super hittable. Her metrics are absolutely terrible. And Buys will throw volume. She will come forward. She's accurate with her striking. But with that being said, I could see Mallory landing takedowns here. For as bad as Mallory is, she has decent wrestling, and I was not impressed with Cheyenne off her back at all. I believe it was Furet that she fought. Yeah, I don't really. I know people are on Cheyenne here. I don't really want any part in playing her as a favorite, but I, especially not at a 190. But I definitely get the angle as to why she should be the favorite. I do think she should win. I think Martin's terrible. She had so much hype coming to the UFC, and she hasn't surpassed my expectations. I haven't seen anything from her that actually wows me, and Cheyenne either, honestly. But I do think that she should be able to keep this standing and piece Mallory up on the feet. What do you think about this one?
I mean, it feels like a pretty obvious just pass on this fight. Yeah. With these women MMA prospects, we don't have a lot of tape on them, and they're still developing, so they can kind of show up to the fight looking like a better version of themselves. If I had to guess who would show up as a better version of their previous self, it would be Cheyenne. She did move camps after that disastrous headlock throw fight. So she is, with Eric Nixick over in Vegas, she is getting good training. That camp does have a lot of good female grapplers. Roxy is a coach there. So I do think that Cheyenne is probably getting some good tune-up for her grappling. Last fight, the KO line was stupid for Cheyenne. It was like plus 1,000. I did hit that. But this one's only plus 550. So I just think that it's an obvious pass. Mallory is fragile. So yeah, just pass on it. Use the information we gather from this fight to cap them in the future.
Yep, 100% agree. You don't have to bet every fight. You can 100% pass. So we move on. We have a welterweight bout between Jake Matthews taking on Jeremiah Wells. What do you think here on this one?
It's not really, I don't really have like too many deep thoughts on this. It's going to be a pass for me. I think if you're going to play it, you'd have to play the Wells side or not Wells side, Wells KO or Jake Matthews money line. the more I've thought about this fight, I do think that even though Jake has had probably one of the biggest cupcake schedules of really any fighter in the UFC, he does have a well-rounded game. He does generally stay composed in most fights. But Wells has big power, and it seems like Wells' cardio does hold up as the fights go on. And from what I've seen, so if you're going to play his side, just play the KO. But for me, it's going to be a pass.
Yeah, this fight is definitely a pass for me. You know, watching Wells walk people down and just throw bombs and then clinch. There's just, in my opinion, there's not enough data on Wells for me to like back him here. And I think Matthews, I think he's the better striker. I think he's gonna, if he doesn't get caught with some looping hook, I think he's gonna be able to sit at range and just piece him up there. I know Wells. I believe Wells is a black belt, but I don't know. I don't know how well he's going to use it. Like he could land takedowns. I'm not a fan of Jake Matthews' game. Takedown defense at all. Matthews is also a black belt, but I know that doesn't Wells train with Daniel Gracie?
Yeah, he's at the same camp as Sean Brady, Pat Sabatini,
Yeah.
those guys.
So
So he's got good training partners, and you do have to consider that a lot of the footage we're seeing is regional footage where he more than likely didn't have full camps. He was probably working a full-time job. We don't know if he took those fights on like 2 days notice. Whereas with Matthews, we really understand what he is because he's been doing full UFC training camps for like 9 fights now.
Years,
So
yeah.
we don't really know with Wells, but he's 35.
Exactly. It's an easy pass for me. I'm hoping that Wells gets a quick KO win or something like that, so we can like look to fade him for someone better in the future. That could happen, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of this fight, and I think you should just pass and just wait and see how it plays out. Maybe try to get in a live line here. So next up, we have Brian Barberina taking on Darian Weeks. I played Barberina for 1.5 units at -110. I thought that was pretty much a no-brainer for me. Weeks, he's 5-0. He's coming in on 4 days notice. I think that's a pretty tall task here. Coming in to face Brian Barberina, and there's some insane takes this weekend that I've heard all week. The people that Weeks has fought have been complete bums. I mean, Craig Fairley is a 155er, and that was he should have put him away a lot quicker than he did. So that was a pretty big red flag to me. So you're telling me he's going from Craig Fairley to Brian Barberina, who is a natural 170er. I do not think Darian Weeks is a natural 170er. He's pretty small. Everyone's playing the KO line round one. I guess you could, but in spots like these, when you get a fighter who's coming in on short days notice, who is significantly less experienced, who should probably be fighting at 155 against Brian, who everyone can talk shit about his schedule, but he's been in the UFC for years. He's very well rounded. I think if he wanted to, he could probably grapple fuck Weeks. Weeks has a terrible ground game. He just got his blue belt, I think at the beginning of October from his local 10th Planet gym. Like the dude is absolutely lost on the mat. And I know Brian doesn't he doesn't attempt takedowns or land takedowns here, but I think that's definitely a path for him, but I think he's going to be just fine on the feet. Honestly, he recovered pretty well versus Witt. He was doing well versus Ivy, and honestly, I think I would play Ivy versus Weeks 100%. I think Ivy would grind Weeks and probably sub him. So yeah, I don't really understand this line movement. Like, I guess if you're going to fade Barberina, whatever, but I think there's, you can fade him against people that have actually more than 5 UFC fights coming in on 3 days notice. I think this line is just crazy. So yeah, I played Barberina at -110. What do you think?
I haven't played anything yet, but I do think Barberina is the side. Barberina, I don't know. There's nothing about his game that screams to me that he's just this very technical, great fighter. He really is just a tough as shit brawler type of fighter. So to me, it's not like it screams like, hey, this is going to be a vet lesson, because vets are typically a little more technical than Barberina. But regardless, like you said, there's some measurable differences between the guys. There's the 4 days notice. I will say to Weeks' credit, even though he didn't put away fairly quickly, he did look composed in there. He did look like he was keeping his range appropriately. So maybe he will use some composure here in his UFC debut, but we've seen this time and time again where there's a new guy coming in versus a guy who has established experience, and the guy with established experience will win. I just am not 100% certain what Barberina's commitment is at this point. I know he has a farm. He's been looking a little less durable lately. He had a near-death experience. So, yeah, I'll end up.
What was his near-death experience? What?
He had to have like this crazy-ass surgery or whatever, like
Barberina?
Yeah, like a year and a half ago. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was like the narrative going into the Witt fight.
Oh, I need to. Did he talk about that in an interview?
I mean, you can see a post about it on Instagram. He has like the giant scar and everything. The photo.
I don't remember that at all. I need to look.
Yeah. So I mean, there's some red flags with Barberina, and he's not really that polished of a fighter, but he is going to fight for your money. And yeah, I mean, it's one of these spots where if you're going to back a fighter like Barberina and he loses, well, it's probably Barberina's getting cut. So you might as well go down with the ship, especially at this price.
Yep, I agree 100%. Okay, so we move on. We have, this is at 125. We got Manel Kape taking on Zligas Zumagulov. I'll start here. I think Kape should be the rightful favorite. Do I want to lay the chalk at a minus 175 for Kape? Fuck no. I don't think Kape should be that big of a favorite versus pretty much anyone. I do think he has some pretty big advantages in this fight. I think he is the more technical striker. I think he hits harder. I think he's significantly more athletic. I think he's bigger. I think he has a better ground game. He could probably wrestle Zumagulov if he wanted to. But we all know Kape. You know, Kape is very low volume. He lets minutes slip away because he just doesn't throw. He doesn't try to wrestle. And that's always been a pretty big concern when you're backing him. Like, the guy has all the talent in the world. But he doesn't put it all together. Like, if he fought to his potential, he could be a title contender, but he's, 1-2 in the UFC, I believe. And, he's got to switch it up if he's going to be fighting against these better level competition fighters. Like, I think Pantoja is top 5, and, he gave Pantoja a fight, so I definitely think he has potential. Zumagulov, I don't hate, like, if you want to just fade Kape's, like, his output and everything, like, I don't really mind a play on Zumagulov, but I do think that he is outgunned pretty much everywhere here. The one thing he does have is he will come forward and he will throw volume, but he's pretty hittable. I'm not a huge fan of his grappling. I think he's going to have a hard time taking down Kape. So yeah, it could be a close fight, just with Zumagulov's output and Kape doing fuck all. But skill wise, I definitely think Kape has him covered here, but it's a complete pass for me. What do you think?
I mean, I'm going to echo pretty much what you said. It is a pass for me. I do think that Kape easily could be 3-0, but unfortunately for Kape, it seems like he doesn't understand the sport. He doesn't understand the scorecards. So that's always a giant liability when you're paying a lot of juice on somebody. So I think it's a pretty clear spot to just avoid and see if Kape is developing his overall mentality here and fighting. But yeah, he should be the better wrestler. He is the better striker. He is faster. He just has output issues. I'm not going to be surprised if we see Kape losing minutes and then just knock him out.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. Okay, did we skip a fight? I hear that we skipped Morono Gall.
Sure.
I guess we'll get into that. You want to start off with that one?
Yeah, it's a tough fight to call. I do think the side is probably Mickey if you're going to be playing the fight. Alex Morono, I said this like on the podcast the other day with John, like if you showed me his tape and I had never watched the sport, like I'd never seen fights before, and you're showing me Alex Morono, I would think that there was something wrong with him because he fights on his tippy toes. He doesn't cut angles appropriately. He's not very athletic. He's basically just a spam machine. So that could work here against Gall because Gall is fragile. From what we've seen, he has some gas issues. But I don't know. I'm not going to be surprised to see Mickey put him out. Alex doesn't really have great defense with his boxing. Mickey does appear to hit pretty hard. So I think the money line is a pass overall. I think if you're going to be on the Gall side, you should probably just play ITD.
Yep.
I also think that the later round variation props for Morono are interesting too. He doesn't typically finish his fights, but I do think you could probably play Morono KO2 or Morono KO3 and just put like small amounts on it if you're feeling degenerate. But overall, this fight should be a pass.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really have any interest in playing this fight at all. I'm not really a huge fan of Morono. He just hasn't really like lived up to his potential. Good for him for getting on a teeny bit of a win streak here, but beating Donald Cerrone and then winning a decision versus Awada, like that shouldn't warrant you the price tag that he's at here. I think Gall can make this a fight. Like you said, I think Gall can hang with him on the feet. I think he's more powerful. I think he's a better grappler. I don't know if he's going to sub Morono because Morono's a black belt. And he's not bad on the ground, but I definitely think if Gall looks to grind and mix in his wrestling, I definitely think that he is live to get a win here.
He'll gas though.
He could gas, yeah.
If he grapples heavy, he's going to gas, and also like honestly, man, Mickey loses position quite a bit. He's very good at subbing people, but he does make little mistakes that I think maybe somebody like Morono with a bit of experience and just getting a lot of good reps all the time. I know Gall is at a much smaller camp, so yeah, I think it would be wise if Gall did not grapple. Actually, I know that a lot of people are saying they play Gall if he would grapple, but I think if Gall grapples, he's pretty much toast. He's going to gas.
Yeah, see, that's where it's hard, man, because I don't know. I definitely think that he could. I don't know, man. I think
what's the KO1 line for Gall right now?
KO1 line for Gall. Why the fuck is this not up here? Hold on.
Let me look here.
I don't even think I have the fight up. Hold on. Oh yeah, we did skip it. It's all the way down here.
Let me see this.
Gotta be huge. Yeah, plus 2,400.
I mean, that's not a bad bet, honestly. I mean,
no, I agree. You could Morales been put out multiple times.
Yeah, you could take a chance if you're feeling it, but I mean, it could be a club sub if he does rock him. So
yeah, I think you're better off passing. Maybe looking for a live line here. Yeah, I don't have any interest in playing this. I didn't really look at it too heavy, to be honest with you. We're gonna move on here. We've got Brendan Allen taking on Chris Curtis. What do you got here?
So I did make a play on Brendan Allen by knockout. I think it's pretty obvious what Allen's trying to do with his career right now after the Sean Strickland fight. He really started to work on his stand-up. I know he's been at Sanford now for a couple camps. So, and I mean, he did look sharp in the Puna fight.
He did look really good versus Puna. That impressed me a lot.
Yeah, and I think Puna would kill Curtis. So
Puna would murder Curtis.
Curtis. I mean, Curtis, it's a cool story, right? He beat Hawes. I thought Hawes was going to beat him.
So Hawes was beating the shit out of him before he was
teeing off on him. I mean,
Hawes fucking him up at range. Bad.
I know a guy who's seen Hawes train too, and he said Hawes is like an absolute fucking freak of nature in the room. But yeah,
Well, I'm sure
clearly
the guy's insanely athletic.
he gets buzzed though, and he got buzzed by Curtis and he got put out.
Yep.
I think it makes sense for Allen from like a narrative standpoint for him to try and put out the guy who just put out his teammate. And also, it's Sean Strickland's boy, who
Yep.
Allen clearly wants that fight again for whatever reason. I don't know why. He got his ass kicked in that fight.
Yeah, he's not winning that fight again. Yeah, he's not.
No, I mean, that was a max bet for me. I max bet
No.
Sean Strickland. It was easy play. But yeah, I think that I wouldn't be surprised to see Allen put him out on the feet. I think I got plus 850, so the line was kind of ridiculous in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's good.
And then start screaming at Sean Strickland afterwards. That's kind of what I'm predicting. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, man, I was kind of surprised that Chris Curtis got the you know, this guy's been a vet for years. You know, I remember playing Magomed Sharipov pretty heavily against him in 2019. And that was a sweat, man. He gave Magomed a fight that fight. You know, he almost finished him with a guillotine. I believe it was in the first round. You know, then he loses to Magomed again. He gets knocked out by Ray Cooper, fights a few bums, and then he gets the UFC call. You know, good for him. But you know, he was on his way to retiring earlier this year. You know, like I don't know why they gave him the call.
Sean Strickland.
Yeah, something like that. You know, Hawes was fucking him up at range really, really bad. Like he was piecing him up. Like Hawes was looking really good. He was landing good leg kicks, landing good body shots. His jab was working really well. Like, you know, Curtis had nothing for him. And then it was like a super weird like KO. Like it looked like Hawes like leaned, like, you know, he was going forward to try and like grapple, and then just walked right into a punch. I believe it was to his stomach, and then just folded. It was pretty meme, you know. You know, Curtis is older. Allen is a lot younger. You know, I do think Allen is technically a lot better. He's going to be able to sit at range with his jab. He's going to be able to leg kick him. He's going to use his footwork and his movement. And Allen's gotten a lot better at that. You know, like, and I've critiqued Allen for years. I've lost so much money fading him. But yeah, I think that he is 100% the sire. I like the camp that he trains out of. I think he is making improvements with his fight IQ. You know, why are they giving Curtis this fight? Why are they giving Curtis two of the hardest fights? They could be giving Curtis some you know, pretty easy fights to get him a couple of UFC wins. I don't really know. I personally, yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. Curtis, you know, he's a savage. He is. You know, he's been around the game for a long time. But you know, I think with the improvements that Allen's making, and it's with his technical ability, as him being younger. I know he doesn't really land takedowns, but I definitely think that he is the better grappler. Curtis should stay away from the ground game, in my opinion. Yeah, I think Allen rolls, and I definitely don't mind the KO prop with this at this stage in Curtis's career. He doesn't react to shots well at all, in my opinion. So, yeah, the side is Allen, but I do not have a bet on it. So we move on. We have Clay Guida taking on Leonardo Santos. So this fight's kind of weird for me. I love Santos. I think he's. I wish that he hadn't had so many injuries and the long layoff. You know, he was on a. You know, he was pretty much unbeaten for the better part of like 12 years before the Grant Dawson fight. You know, and that was an interesting fight. You know, getting hammer fisted with 1 second left is a tragedy. You know, but you know, he's had the layoff. He's coming back. He's being a little bit more active. You know, he's had 2 fights in a year and a half, which that's pretty unheard of for him in general. You know, considering the amount of time he's had off. You know, he didn't. But man, the guy's a vet of the game. He's very, very well rounded. But at this stage of his career, man, I don't know how I can trust to lay the juice on him here. You know, I know Guida's old, but Guida will come forward. He will throw volume and he will land takedowns. I don't think Guida's going to have much success landing takedowns on Santos here, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets subbed trying to do so. I also think that Santos is technically better at range and has more power. Guida could make this fight close just by volume and being active. And who knows? Maybe Santos is just completely regressed. Like that Bogota. Like I remember taping that Bogota fight, and I was like, "What the fuck is this line? Like he should school Bogota." And that was way too close of a fight for comfort for me. So yeah, I think Santos is going to win. He's just such a better fighter than Guida, but I'm just going to sit back and pass. Watch. I hope he gets the win because I love Santos's game, but yeah, it's not a fight that I want to lay my money on at all. What do you think?
Santos is a little too honest for his own good because apparently in an interview I just saw today.
Oh yeah, I remember
in our
that.
chat. Yeah. He basically admitted that he has come back to this fight a little too soon, and apparently he has some kind of a calf injury. I guess the UFC had more or less threatened to cut him if he didn't fight, which is annoying to hear, especially for a guy that's 41 and is really technical and a nice guy like he is.
Yes.
I think he's the better technical fighter than Guida really everywhere, truthfully.
Everywhere, yeah.
Guida was struggling with Madsen's jab in his last fight, and he was constantly short on Madsen with his hook flurries that he likes to throw. He was short a lot of the time by about like a full foot. So I don't think that Guida's going to do well with the range. I don't think he can take Santos down, and I think if he tries to take Santos down, he's likely to get subbed or taken down himself because Santos does have a really good trip, and he's good at stepping over to mount and taking your back. I did play the Santos submission line at plus 600 just on the off chance that he does hit that. But after hearing what I did today about him basically fighting injured, I probably would have stayed off. It's going to be an overall pass for me, but I do hope that Santos wins this fight.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up for the UFC. Santos has been around for a long time. He's old. Give the dude a little bit more time to recover. Like, why are you saying you're cut if you don't take this fight? Like, I don't know. I think he deserves better than that.
The WME era, man. They're blood and guts. They want all knockouts. They want quick turnarounds. So it is what it is. It's a business. It's the fight business, and he took the fight. He didn't have to. But yeah, I hope he pulls it out.
I agree. All right, let's move on here. We've got Jimmy Crute taking on Jamal Hill. What do you got?
I played Crute submission round one. Yeah. I played Crute submission. I think he's just got the better overall wrestling ground game. Jamal Hill, he trains at not a very high level gym in Michigan. They don't really have many prospects out of their gym. He has shown that he can be taken down. This is a smaller cage, so I do expect Crute to be able to wrestle with him. It's really going to depend on Crute, right? Because Crute decided to stand with Anthony Smith. He ate about 20 jabs before snapping his ankle or whatever the heck happened there. And he was still able to take Anthony Smith down, even with his ankle bent at a 45 degree angle. So Crute does have legitimate wrestling skill. There's definitely some question marks to whether he can do that over the course of 15 minutes. But I do think if he gets Jamal Hill down in round one, he's going to submit him. Jamal Hill is coming back from this fight way too soon from his last fight. He had his arm completely snapped, and he's coming back like 9 months later or something like that. There's no way that he was 6 months. There's no way
6 months.
There's no way he got the training he needed for this fight. And I heard that he even said he didn't have a good camp for this fight. So I think it's an easy spot for Crute. I am eyeballing the money line, but just as of now, I'm happy with the submission plays.
Yeah, I completely agree with you here. Um, I've been pretty critical of Jamal Hill in general. I don't think I've made a play on him at all since he's actually joined the UFC. I guess shame on me, but um, yeah, I think Crute can grind him here. I think he can walk him down, throw bombs. I think he can get a hold of his legs. I think he can get on top of him. Like you said, the cardio issue is a little bit of a concern, but I don't like Jamal Hill off of his back at all. I think Crute is definitely physical. He's tough. He's got a lot of grit. Obviously, at range, Hill should piece him up, but I don't think Crute's completely lost there. But Crute will come forward. He will attempt takedowns, and I do think that he's faced the significantly better level of competition. What is Hill's best win?
Abreu.
Yeah, Abreu.
Maybe OSP.
And I was honestly kind of surprised that he beat Abreu. I thought Abreu was going to fuck him up. That was a pretty frustrating fight in general. You know, I personally, thought Abreu was going to be able to, I thought his defense was going to hold up a lot better. I thought he was going to be competitive in the striking, and I thought he was going to be able to get him down as he uses jiu-jitsu. Obviously, didn't fucking happen at all. The read was completely off there. Yeah, I like Crute here. I think it's a sub. I love the submission prop here, especially with Hill coming back so soon. It's not a good matchup for him here going up against Crute, in my opinion. With a loss like that, you take a year off, you go back to the drawing board. You're young, you improve, you get better, you come back for a fight. You don't come back 6 months later.
I think he has like 6 kids, so he needs to pay the bills. So I get it. The guy's trying to make a living, but this is definitely not good for his overall career.
Not at all. Not at all. And he's young, man. I like Crute here a lot. I think he should take this pretty. I'm not going to say pretty easily, but I think if he gets on top of him, he's going to work him. Moving on, we have a fantastic fight. It's one of my. I love this fight. We have Brad Waddell taking on Rafael Fiziev. I will throw it to you, Shawn. What do you got?
I played Brad's money line. I played Brad by KO plus 550. And then I played some variations of the round 3 props. I got like KO 3 at plus 2,600. And then just round 3 at plus 2,200. Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit invested in it. Nothing too crazy. Probably I have 2 bankrolls. I have an internet bankroll, and then I have a physical bankroll. The physical bankroll is smaller than the internet bankroll because it's more or less starting out. It's probably about 5% of it. And yeah, I think it boils down to I just think that Brad is the better boxer. I know that Fiziev is a really good kickboxer. He throws heat. He's a fun action fighter. And he's had some solid wins, but at the same time, Brad has also had some solid wins. Yeah. I think that Drew Dober would probably kill Fiziev. I think Bradley is going to do what he always does, which is he's going to start off kind of slow. There's going to be some potential for Fiziev to knock him out in round 1 because Brad sometimes does block punches with his face. And as the fight goes on, I do expect Fiziev's output to slow down, whereas what we've seen with Brad is his output increases as the fight goes on. He very much builds as fights go and as he makes his reads. So I am expecting Riddell to be the better overall striker here. And I think he can also land takedowns if he wants to, because we've seen he can actually wrestle pretty well. So Brad's the spot. I've been hearing some pretty crazy takes on the boxing this week. I just don't think people know what they're looking at when they're looking at the hands. But Brad is clearly the better boxer. Fiziev is clearly the better kickboxer, but I mean, Brad's doing some really creative stuff in there. He's making some good reads. He's pivoting off the center line. He's going through like 3-4 progressions in the pocket with people. That's way more than most people can say. And I think it's just obvious at this point what you do to Fiziev. You just feint on him in the beginning and draw out his big power shots, and he slows down as the fight goes.
Yep.
Bobby started to figure it out as the fight goes on that all you got to do is just feint and then counter the guy. But yeah, Brad would probably at this stage in Bobby's career smash Bobby. So I don't think it's super relevant here. Yeah, I'd say play Brad.
Yeah. So this fight. So I played Fiziev a couple weeks ago at pretty much evens. My assumption, not assumption, like what I still kind of think is that I think he's gonna fuck Brad up in the first round. Brad's gonna have to go through fire. Fiziev's gonna be fresh. He's gonna be landing kicks. He's gonna be throwing bombs. He's gonna be pressuring him. And like you said, Brad takes a while to get going. And I'm not a huge fan of Brad's defense. I'm also not a huge fan of Fiziev's defense either. But man, I didn't watch the Bobby Green fight live. I was working. And then I went back. I was like, I should probably tape this fight. So I did. And round 3 was a huge concern. That was a huge concern. And that pretty much made me be like, I should probably like just cash out of my entire Viziev play. I'm not. I've decided I cashed out a little bit of it. I think I have about a unit on him right now currently. I'm gonna let that ride. I'm gonna try and arb out as the fight gets extended.
Smart.
Yeah, I think that's how it is. And that's tape the fucking fight before you book it. I mean, before you play it. Like don't be a dumbass like me. We were all on Bobby there. That was a pretty that was pretty shitty. I mean, I think Bobby takes round 3 at a pretty high clip. And Bobby, it was pretty competitive, for the first couple of rounds. I honestly think Fiziev, that's a solid win for Fiziev. I love Bobby Green. I think he's got fantastic talent. But I do, for here, it's I agree with every sentiment you're saying. I think Riddell is the better wrestler. Is Fiziev going to make him shoot early? I think, I wouldn't mind seeing Riddell shoot and grapple with him early, wear on him, get him in the clinch, make the fight dirty, and rip the body at range. Land your leg kicks, land your counter body shots, wear on him and tire him out. I think like with Fiziev moving up and fighting the better competition at 155, like that's one of the best divisions in the world. 155, it's very, very competitive. He has to get that cardio on point. He has to. I don't know if it's a cardio issue or if it's a management of energy issue, but he's got to get it figured out. He's very, very explosive, very, very, very early, and you could just tell like his explosive just completely cut off towards the end of that fight, and that's a big concern. I love Fiziev. I think he has a pretty bright future, same as Riddell. But I do agree. I do think that Riddell is the more well-rounded fighter. So at this current line, like what is he, plus 110, plus 115 now? Last I saw he was plus 110.
What the fuck?
I could be wrong.
Let me look here.
Yeah, plus 110 right now. Yeah,
that's insane.
I think you can hit Fiziev's. I'm sorry. I think you could hit Riddell's round 3. Plus, I'm seeing plus 2,200 some places, plus 1,700 some places. That's pretty interesting. I don't.
Brad round 3.
Yeah, Brad round 3.
Dude, I got plus 2,600.
That's a great fucking line.
What is FanDuel have it?
FanDuel. Hold on. I got it right.
I got it.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah, dude. If you have FanDuel, you can still bet. Let's see here. It's weird because they're not showing me the like the KO3 or whatever, but the KO3, if you go to actual FanDuel, is plus 2,600.
Boom.
And then the round bet is still plus 2,200. So
yeah, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, just take some pokes on it. I mean,
that got smashed. What is ref? Is ref 5 dimes?
Ref is Bet Online.
Bet Online. That got smashed to plus 1150.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, no, that's a poke. That's a poke, honestly. And that's what I'm saying. Like I was kind of silent the whole week on this fight because I was like, fuck, I probably fucked up. And I will admit that. But yeah, there's angles to go about with betting this fight.
Your idea is not bad. I mean, I do think that Fiziev is probably 60-40 to win round one.
It's an IPA, man. What the fuck's a Mai Tai? Is that a mixed drink?
Yeah, it's like a island drink, dude.
No, I only drink whiskey sours. That's it. Well, a little bit tequila. You can't go wrong with the tequila sunrise, but yeah, I don't know what.
I drink Mai Tais sometimes.
What is tequila? What alcohol is that?
I don't know. I just order them. Tastes good.
It tastes good. Word, James. I'll try a Mai Tai or whatever it is, and I'll post it up on Twitter next time. Next time I go out to the bar. All right. My daughter's starting to get antsy, so let's move on to this main event. Fucking fantastic main event. I'm so stoked this got booked. We've got Rob Font taking on Jose Aldo. Shawn, I will let you start on this one.
I have a pretty small play on Aldo. I played it early. Yeah, it's a pretty girly cocktail. Yeah.
I'm down with girly drinks. I like that.
If you're like at a beach or a resort and you just start slamming Mai Tais,
Mai Tai?
Not a bad way to start your day. Yeah. I don't know. So yeah, I played him small. I just think that Aldo is just the better technical fighter. I think he's better at all levels of the game. The only concern here, obviously, everybody knows this. Aldo's 35. He likes to move his head to get out of range from jabs and right crosses. Font does use his range very well. Yes. But, I mean, this is going to be the hardest fight of Font's career, and it's definitely not the hardest fight of Aldo's career. If Aldo throws kicks, this is a cakewalk. We know sometimes Aldo doesn't throw kicks. If Aldo mixes in takedowns, this is a cakewalk. And then if he decides to stand and trade with him, I still favor Aldo, especially early in the fight. Aldo hits a hell of a lot harder. He's going to be landing all of the attritional work to the body. And I just don't think that Rob Font is going to be able to easily walk Aldo down early on in the fight like he has been able to. He basically just fought two guys that had no idea how to parry a jab. So Rob Font stocks are really high. I love Rob Font, but I love Aldo more. And I do think if you want to play this fight like a smart better, you can just pre-bet Aldo and then live bet Font in the off chance that Aldo starts to slow. But I do think that the cardio narrative is a bit overblown. Aldo looked fresh versus Munoz. He looked fine versus Cheeto. And really,
he looked fine versus Munoz.
Yeah, and the Jan fight, I mean, no shit. He got
landing a lot of body shots.
A lot of body shots. And also he hurt him to the body in round one. So yeah, I just think it's a bit overblown. I think the King of Rio takes it on Saturday.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I have not bet Aldo yet, and John's been on my ass all week about it. I am waiting. I'm looking at the line movement right now, and I believe he was plus 130 earlier in the day, and now he's plus 118. Okay. I'll look into that later. Yeah, I should have jumped in on Aldo at plus 150. I told myself I was going to. I was the one talking like, what the fuck? This is Aldo's fight weeks ago. I didn't. I'm going
Instead, you bet Fiziev.
Yes. I'm a dumbass. Yeah, so I love Font. I'm going to start off by saying I thought Font was a dark horse of the division. I think he's a fantastic dude, fantastic striker. I don't think he's the better fighter here at all. He's talked about in interviews. He's like, the first couple rounds are going to be difficult. I'm going to have to sit behind my jab, and I'm going to have to use my footwork. I'm going to have to check the leg kicks. Like, he knows exactly what is coming for him, and Aldo knows exactly what's coming for him. Aldo needs to kick the legs early, in my opinion. You kick the legs, it's harder for him to sit on his jab. Aldo has devastating leg kicks. He's going to counter the jab with body shots. He needs to put Font on the back foot. Font does not do well moving backwards at all.
Nope.
We've seen that time and time again. I, you know, I really think the leg kicks and the body shots are going to be there for Aldo here. The last fight, everyone talks about, oh, his defense wasn't that good, blah blah blah. I don't think it was that good. His defense was fantastic. He was checking everything.
Yeah.
And Munoz, he's a good striker. Like the dude will throw out volume and pressure. He will walk you down and he will throw. And Aldo was checking everything.
He saw everything coming.
He saw everything, like everything. I know after the Jan fight, he went back. Was it Brazilian Olympian boxing champions he was working with?
Yeah, I think he's working with Olympians, and then he's also working with. They have like their Navy boxing team.
Yeah, Navy boxing team. Yeah.
So he's doing both Novo and Yao and Navy boxing. So, I mean, Aldo knows what the fuck is up.
He knows what's up. Why is he making 135?
Yeah.
Well, he had struggles at 145 for years, and all of a sudden he's making 135. I'm not going to sit here and put this narrative in there, but there's a really good chance that Aldo's on some sort of juice. He's just looked resurged. I wouldn't say a resurge, but he's exceeded my expectations at 135, 100%. I thought he was going to die there. Just like I think Cody's going to die at 125 next week. Yeah, 100%. That's a big bet. But yeah, I do think that early on it's going to be a really hard fight for Font. I think the cardio issues are overblown. If Font does get off on his jab and he does move his feet and he avoids Aldo's counters, I think it's a decent fight for him. But like, how do you favor someone who is not a better MMA fighter? Like you are basing this narrative around age and cardio, in my opinion.
You're paying juice for a guy that's supposed to diminish as the fight goes on. The people who are on the Font side, and I know a couple guys who I respect on the Font side, they're paying a bad price. I don't know why they're doing that, because there's really very little possibility that Font's going to be winning the early rounds.
Yep.
So
you could probably get Font after round 2 at dog money evens. Maybe even pretty big dog money, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, Aldo's going to be winning these exchanges early. Like unless Aldo is just like unless he's injured. I can't put too much into the Volk fight, to be honest with you. That was kind of weird, but unless he sits back and does fuck all, he's going to be winning this fight, in my opinion. Like he really is. So if you got on Aldo plus 150, that's great. I kind of left it Aldo KO, but I don't know if his power has exactly translated as heavily down to 135. He was TKOing people with body shots at 145. It seems like everyone has been able to take his strikes pretty well here. So I'm not really sure about the KO line. Just play the money line.
Font does get rocked though.
He does get rocked. He has decent recoverability. Honestly, Aldo can land takedowns and grind on top of this dude.
Mm-hmm.
He can work him from top position. Like Aldo is Font is a good defensive grappler, stand up. He's not a very good defensive wrestler at all.
Cody took him down. Yeah,
he understands positions and how to get back up. He understands how to create space. He's constantly creating butterflies. He's constantly hipping out. He's constantly grabbing underhook. Like that is what Font is good at, about getting up. Aldo is heavy on top. He understands when to pass. He understands head positioning. He understands wrist control. He understands all of that. And he's gonna work him. He was able to. I know he didn't land any takedowns versus Vera, but that was impressive, man. He worked Vera. He transitioned through the guard. Mm-hmm. He flowed through positions. He had the back. Vera had no answer for him in the third round. Zero. Vera could not break that body lock. And, that's not something that we've really seen from Aldo too much. And that's a game. That's a part of his game that I really, really like, that I think that he could use. If his cardio, it's a teeny bit of a concern for me. I think it's overblown, like you said. But if he's figured it out, I really think that he could incorporate his wrestling here. So yeah, I think Aldo is 100% the side. I think if you're going to Font, you should look to live bet him if Aldo slows down. So I think we are both in agreement on that. I don't know. I don't think we have any questions. Oh, do you have any Bellator plays?
No.
No. Okay.
Where are
Word.
you playing?
I've got a couple plays. I've got one unit on Kyle Crutchmer. He's minus 140 now. I believe I got it on him at like minus 130. NCAP is a meme. He trains. I know he's done this training camp at Sanford, which is good, but for the most part, he owns a karate gym with his dad. He's a horrible boxer. This dude has zero hands. He's a karate guy. He's a kicker. He's a meme guy. He will throw spinning kicks. He will meme on you. He initiates grappling. That's not good to do against Crutchmer. Crutchmer has he's got a pretty solid wrestling background. I don't know if he was I believe he was an All American. Like, the guy is a solid wrestling. I mean, he's been wrestling since he was like 15.
I've won money on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you have. Yeah. So you know Crutchmer. Yeah. The guy
Yeah.
will attempt takedowns relentlessly. Do I think Crutchmer is like anything special? No. But when you get a guy with a high level wrestling background against a karate guy who initiates grappling, that's a play, in my opinion. I think he's going to grind him for 3 rounds. I think he's going to land ground and pound. And honestly, if it stays on the feet for extended periods of time, I do think Crutchmer has the better inside boxing. And it's very easy to get inside on a guy like NCAP. It is. Kick the legs, walk forward, throw bombs in the pocket. So yeah, I thought it was pretty easy. I know there's a lot of good short people that are on him as well. And the line went down to like minus 115, and now it's back up to minus 145. So the public agrees. I also have 1.5 units on Mike Hamill, the GOAT, the best 8-5 fighter in MMA right now. I fucking love Mike. He's had a pretty interesting run with Bellator. He's had some pretty hard fights, but the guy's a damn good wrestler. I don't think there's not many people that are going to out wrestle this dude at 155 in Bellator. I think this guy has the potential to win a lot of fights. He's got fantastic cardio. His top control is kind of mad, but he will pursue takedowns. He will dump you constantly. Yep. And he has good pressure. He has good volume. I wouldn't say he's very technical with his striking, but he will walk forward. He will throw. And that is good for minute winning. He will throw, and then he will land takedowns. That is what you want to see here. Mota, I'm not going to say he's a bad fighter, but he's coming down in weight. I think he has weird cardio issues. I think that, I think he's technically the more technical striker.
Is this the guy who fought Hubbard?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I taped him before.
Yeah, but I do think that Hamill moving forward and throwing combinations, I think he's going to be winning minutes there. And
Hubbard,
I'm sorry,
Hubbard landed takedowns on him, didn't he?
Yeah. And Mota, he's not a better wrestler. He's an okay grappler, but Hamill will land takedowns, and Mota goes for guillotines all the time. And he's not hitting that on Hamill. Hamill will get out of that, and Hamill will fucking pound him. I had Hamill minus 145, minus 150. I capped him at, and I got him at plus 115. I think I got him a little bit at plus 122. So, I think he's around minus 115, minus 120 now. So obviously, line movement was in my favor, getting him at dog odds. So yeah, I think those are 2 good plays. It's a great card. I think the main event's fantastic.
Yeah.
Gooch versus Sergio Pettis, fucking great fight. Do you want to talk about that fight real quick? Do you have any opinions on it?
So I did tape the Horiguchi side. I didn't go super deep into Bellator because I had some internet issues up until recently. But I know the Horiguchi line has been steamed. I know that the guys over at ATT are extremely confident in Horiguchi.
Yep, they all are.
So
I think he's the best 135er on the planet.
I mean, there's a good case to be made, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to think. I mean, from what I remember of Pettis, he's pretty stationary. He has decent enough volume. He throws straight punches. Not a lot of power. Horiguchi, he's very athletic. He can hit takedowns. His stand-up is okay. It's really fast, but I do notice that he's constantly overextending on his punches. He'll even clash heads because he overextends so hard. I guess I would pick Horiguchi to win the fight just based on what I know of the guys. But I do know that his line is a bit obscene at this point, so I don't think that you can really play him. What do
Yeah,
you
I
think?
like Gooch. I like Gooch here. I think he takes the win. I don't like. I think a couple of our buddies got Pettis at plus 170, and you know KO upside. I guess like that. That's a pretty good idea. But I love Gooch. Like
Doesn't
you
have
said, he's very
power.
athletic. Huh?
Pettis
Pettis?
doesn't have power. Yeah.
No, he doesn't have power. Gooch has been knocked out before though. But I think it's pretty low percentage. I think Gooch is going to get grinded here. I think he's going to get wrestled. I think he's going to get out cardio. This is 5 rounds. I know, like you said, everyone AT&T is super high on Horiguchi. I think Horiguchi can also knock him out. Pettis is pretty defensively flawed. At times too, I think he came over to Bellator and he had two pretty good matchups for him. Like who the fuck was that guy? He he killed the dude. He knocked the dude out twice standing and then fucking like subbed him with a guillotine. He killed the dude 3 fucking times. Like on live TV, that was fucking brutal. I was sitting here like, holy shit, how did they not cut to commercial? This dude is dead. It was insane, you know. And then he fought Archuleta. You know, good win for him versus Archuleta. Obviously, Archuleta's a little bit overrated in the stand up and couldn't land takedowns.
Oh, I bet Pettis in that spot. That was
Good
great.
spot. I bet Archuleta there. Like, and I was like, fuck. Yeah, no, that was a wasn't Archuleta the favorite too? I think Pettis was
Oh,
the dog
dude,
there.
the Pettis line was like
Pretty
absurd.
big.
I
Yeah.
think it was like plus 2x, and then
Yeah.
I bet decision too, which was like even crazier. So
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
that was a good win. That one.
Great win. It's a great
Yeah.
win. It's a good win in your cap. Yeah, I like Gooch here. I think he has potential to be just, you know, obviously not potential. We all know he's elite talent at 135. I want to see him versus Cahuto at some point. If that's actually going to happen, but yeah, it's a really good card. I think it's one of the best Bellator cards that they put on all year. To be honest with you, and it's on Friday night. I think it starts at 4 on Showtime, so that'll be good. And there'll be some nice live betting opportunities there too. So yeah, I think we got a couple boxing cards this weekend. So it's overall just a really good weekend for fights. You have anything else you want to say? You want to talk about anything?
Not really, no. So just I'll have an article up on sharpmma.com with just my bets that I'm making, and I'll be hanging out with my boy C this weekend.
Is he coming over?
Well, we'll probably go somewhere, to watch them. They have like FanDuel retail spots out here, so you can just kind of go there and watch. Yeah, it's like a whole storefront with TVs and stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah, so maybe we'll head over there. Yeah, I just moved here a week ago. So it's like a really nice location and
great,
pretty lively there. So yeah, I was betting cash at the kiosks and stuff.
Why is he in Arizona?
I think he's going to a funeral actually.
Oh, that's shitty. Okay.
Yeah. C's always somewhere though.
Yeah, he's always somewhere, man. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up here. I'll be back next week for the pay-per-view. I don't know who I'm going to get on for that. Maybe Shawn will come back. Maybe I'll.
Aren't you doing? I thought you were getting Luca Fury for that one.
I think the guy's sick and tired of me quoting his tweets every time he tweets about.
I think he loves it. Actually,
his house.
I think he loves it.
Sorry, guys. 6 months later, they flooded my house. Can't do this. But he might win. He might win.
I can't wait for the return, personally.
Guy should be Fury and not Fight Picks. What the fuck? That's false advertising.
I'm on the edge of my seat, personally. I'm ready for it.
All right, guys. We're gonna get out of here. I'm Quinn. You can find me on Twitter at Orthodox1993. My Bet MMA is betmma.tips/qpatch666. You can find Shawn on Twitter at Shawn Orr. Is that the same as your Bet MMA? You can find Shawn's Bet MMA the same way. So
it's also my OnlyFans too, if anybody wants to.
All right, guys. Taylor Fade, I hope you guys all win some cash. Good luck on Saturday. If you have any questions, hit us up on Twitter. Have a good night, Shawn.
Peace.
Peace.